For us, it was super important to look at where the world was a few years back or 20 years ago when I was a kid, looking at where it is today, how it has changed, how it has evolved, and then looking at what's coming our way. We did a lot of research about trends for architecture, scientific discoveries. We also partner with someone that works in biotechnologies, Mr. Will Russolini, to credibilize a lot of the technology for our augmentations. It was really important that we had realistic scientific foundation for the augmentations that we were building, because for me, even though sometimes we were going crazy a little bit here and there with what we were creating, we really wanted to bring these things back to something tangible, to some scientific principles that are making sense, that it makes those augmentations a little bit special today, but you can see how tomorrow we can get there. Back in 2007, we were like, okay, cloaking, how can we credibilize that? In science fiction it existed, it doesn't really exist. And other augmentations like that, given the Icarus landing system, some of our ideas we were nervous with. Not from a gameplay perspective, that was covered, it was not a problem. But the guy I was talking about, Will Russolini, we ran those ideas with him and he was discussing with us, well, today we're able to have sensors that can go under the skin and then you can revert gravity or things like that. I was quite surprised in a good way that we managed to make all of our ideas work in some ways in terms of technobabble and everything, and that guy really helped us quite a bit, because sometimes we were going to him, is it possible that, is it making sense? And he was figuring a way to make it make sense, basically.
We want to anticipate the future. We don't necessarily want to create it. And to anticipate it, you kind of have to know a lot about what's going on today. Especially on Human Revolution, when we started looking very closely into human enhancement technologies and where it's all going. And we started predicting where it would go forward, and we were seeing things about, like, looking into what MIT is doing with prosthetic limbs and stuff. And to see that by the time we put out the game, the things that we were predicting were happening, suddenly about a year or two after the game came out, the very articles that we kind of predicted would happen started coming out. And it's not even just on the technology end, it's even just on society and all this. When we were working on Human Revolution, we had said that there would be an athlete who would be augmented, who would try to petition that he should be not part of the special games, but in the actual Olympic Games. And sure enough, Oscar Pistorius did that like 2 or 3 years later.
And Oscar Pistorius, the greatest Paralympic athlete of all time, is going to take this gold medal.
And then we try with everything that we're doing, not just in terms of story, but we try and put that credibility into everything, even like the art and the way they're designing our models. They try to make it very mechanically real.
The funny thing about game designers is we have to do fashion design, we have to do urbanism, we have to do architecture, we have to do all these things, but we're none of those things. We look at how things are really made and how they're thought out and how they're built. And we also look at what the most kind of forward-thinking designers are already doing. Gareth, Pugh, Alexander McQueen, and then we kind of look at what they did and we multiplied it a little, right? And obviously turn it into our own.
Regarding how we approach doing sound design for futuristic sounds and possibly stuff that doesn't even exist today, we try and gravitate more towards basing it in reality. I think it's more believable in our world if it comes from something that you can relate to and it exists. Whereas if we take it too far over the line, then it feels like it's not part of our universe anymore. We always try and reference today's reality because the game's set about 25 years in the future. So it's not that far ahead, like we're not in Star Wars territory. And a lot of times we look to the past to give us our answers.
I find that when you invent the future, it starts looking Star Trek-y. It's juxtapositions at the end of the day, and trying not to invent it from zero at the same time.